Okay, guess it was just
Honestly, I
again.
am a little curious what hints this game could possibly offer because literally all it has done is
It,
railroad us this
yeah,
entire time.
yeah. It's like, do you want a hint? Sure. Use the keys that you find. Shut the fuck up. All right, what do we got?
Which one did we just get? 15 or 16? I've already forgotten.
Oh, okay. It gives some explanations. It tells us where to use the keys. All right. Well,
Oh, okay.
let me see what keys we have.
16.
We got 16. Okay. All right. Chart. All right. Let's see. Let's start here. All right. We did all that. 5, 6, and 7. We got those. Yeah, we got those key. There we go. 5, 6, and 7. 5 and 6. Right. Okay. Okay. We don't have 20 or key 3. Damn it. Oh, here we go. Decide arrangements. Key
Oh,
16. Oh, this is when Yudai died.
yeah.
Okay.
やっ
Okay. Yeah.
あ、
All right.
大丈夫、大
All right.
丈夫。どこでも寝られるから。
Yeah.
それに
Okay.
君は
Into
こ
the
れから
prefab
住むん
myself.
だろう。早いところ家に馴染んだ方がい
He's
い。
still talking.
He's still talking.
This was it. If I let Hashimoto-san take the prefab, his death would be unavoidable. By keeping him alive, I should be able to create a different timeline. Simply surviving wasn't enough. Damn, that is some image.
It is.
That meant I had to try all possible options. I had to reveal all the things I was ignorant or afraid of. For all I knew, I might have been overlooking some minor yet important details. Like the thing that said, oh, that called you on your looping, and the serial killer, and the fucking everything that's happened up at Kami Fujiyoshi. There's like a whole lot of shit that you've been overlooking, my dude. But first, I wanted to try more impactful changes. Letting Hashimoto-san survive would have to greatly affect the timeline.
Letting him survive?
Right.
Oh, man.
That already happened once with Mamiya-san's survival. It even changed the Guardians people received. I can still remember the last loop. I'd become the snake, took out the wolves, and decided to live alongside the survivors, most importantly Rikako-san. Those sentiments had earned an unreasonably cruel conclusion. I can still remember the sadness and despair. But I couldn't really understand it. Why had I forgotten my fear of the unknown? Why had it been so easy for me to decide to move to Yasumizu and live alongside Rikako Uematsu-san? Was I that kind of person? Oh, he's going crazy. I didn't know why, but it definitely seemed like I wasn't really myself back then. I felt like I'd become a part of something greater, not just an individual. The gears all snapped into place and brought forth that tragic ending. These feelings and guesses coming to my head left me without a clue as to where to go from here. A part of me did feel like fate or something divine existed, and that I couldn't escape its control no matter what. But my knowledge, discretion, perception, and intuition wanted to not deny that line of thinking. There was no absolute fate. It was just something like that, if there was either someone's elaborate plot or just a product of my imagination that seemed like it. I wasn't being a conspiracy theorist here. Or nihilist, for that matter. However, I wanted to reject lines of thinking that stifle my ability to come up with ideas. If I could think creatively, I might be able to find gaps in these seemingly impenetrable bars jailing me here.
細石君、どうかした？
You know, I just kind of zonked out a bit.
気にしないでください。僕は今後ずっとあそこに住むんですから、橋本さんはこの一晩だけでも楽に過ごすべきです。
しかし、
藤吉村にはマロードを丁重にもてなす文化があるそうですから、その一員となる僕もそうすべきだと思うんです。
まれびと信仰？確かにロケーション的にはしっくりくるけど、ここの現状を見るとピンとこないな。それってあの樋口さんから聞いたの？
Ah, crap. That was info Rikako-san had given me last loop.
まあよくしてもらいましたよ。こうして家まで手配してくれて。
久石君、人がいいのね。
Sure. Nope, not at
ご
all.
好意はいただいたらどうです、橋本さん。
じゃあ いただこうかな。
All good.
Oh, good.
After parting ways with them, I went to Kaori-san and had her help me get a shabby blanket, some newspapers, and a water bucket. There was only one bucket that they could let me use, and it was in a pretty bad state, showing once again just how dire Yasumizu's supply problem was. The newspapers weren't the daily news, but some old ones brought from Kami Fujiyoshi as material supplies. I spread them out on the floor and placed a blanket on them. That was my sleeping spot ready. I'd also bought a portable toilet at that convenience store. Now, if nature called during the night, I wouldn't be faced with the difficult choice to either die or piss myself.
Hillary did bring up an interesting thought in the chat.
Oh, yeah, what was it? I missed it.
What if all roles affect people who get them, and it's
Yeah.
not just the wolves that are weird?
I'm honestly starting to think that.
Yeah.
After finishing up the preparations, I, just like last time, returned to the dining hall. I was given some shishinare again and somehow ate it all.
平気そうね。
案外、いけますね。
That was a bit of a lie. I just came prepared for it because of my experience from last time. I still wasn't used to it enough to declare it good. Just what kind of booze would go with this?
Probably
like
something
last
that tastes like paint thinner to just strip the flavor out of your
Right?
mouth.
Then, like last time, I went on to fix plates. Last time I learned the symbols of the Higuchi, the Uematsu, and when I'd gotten the snake, the Miguruma symbol, even if it wasn't too clear. The Nosato mansion had theirs on the gate, so I knew them all. This info could possibly lead me to the truth, so I had to remember it. Some time passed, and, like last time, the students came back.
あれ
The bright yet tender Yasunaga Uribe. His tenderness was mostly toward his family, though. It was a very human trait, which was a good thing. I felt bad for him for getting caught up in something like this. Whether he was an ally or enemy in the feast would greatly affect how it went. I didn't want him as an opponent, that much was certain.
見知らぬやつ。
The free-spirited and slightly immoral Chikamochi Kamashita, he left quite an impression on me. As a wolf, he was a threatening individual who could do some horrible things with a straight face. But what would he be like this time? And then there was her, Haru Makishima. Last time she'd been brutally murdered, while the time before that she sided with the wolves as a badger. She wasn't much of a contributor to the feast. I considered her to be a troublemaker rather than anything else. But...
そうか。落ちてきたか。
But there's that thing. You know, that thing.
The auto-tune thing.
直しておるな。
はるちゃんは夜中寂しがって一人で抜け出したんだ。お泊まり学校。それで山道を抜けて。わからない。大人は安水の手前で見つけたって言ってたけど、みんな安水で何か見たんじゃないかって噂して。そのせいかわかんないけど、それでしばらくはるちゃんおかしくなっちゃって、みんな狼つきとか噂して。
She was the closest person to the mystery surrounding Yasumizu. She'd lost her parents to the previous feast, disappeared once, then started talking strangely.
偉大なる神を下ろすのは相応の儀礼にのっとるべきだ。簡単に勝手に取りつかれるようなもので
The
は
village
ない
heads insisted that this wasn't any sort of possession, but a mental
Yeah,
illness.
she's still talking.
I know. However, the fact it was treated using Uematsu's special ability to take in such things made it seem entirely possible that the trouble surrounding her was of divine or whoa. It was treated using Uematsu's special ability to take in such things. Holy shit! What if Rikako took in something, and that's why she got fucking Bonzo last time? Like whatever Haru saw, Rikako took part of it in.
Yep.
But there was something I didn't really understand. Yeah, that! I didn't know how, but last time Rikako-san healed me of aconite poisoning. I knew it with my own body that this ability was more than just a religious rite and an actual physical effect. That didn't necessarily mean that it would work on mental illness, too. Honestly, there were too many things that didn't make sense here.
その汚れは私にも引き取れない。
I didn't know the rules. It kind of freaked me out, but for now I had no choice but to set Rikako-san's issues aside. What mattered now was Haru-chan. She had parental issues, a strange relationship with her granddad. All in all, she was a delicate young girl going through a complicated time in her life. I didn't quite know how to deal with her. Fooling around with her didn't work, and Casanova-type characters seemed to scare her. I tried to not do much and appear harmless. Maybe that'd work. Maybe if you just, I don't know, weren't such a weird creep and just approach things with sincerity.
Sincerity?
I know,
What's
right?
that?
こちら急遽休みずに移り住むことになった夫妻さんよ。
どうも。
I bow with an empty expression on my
兄
face.
ちゃんアンドロイドだ。
God damn it. I had to do my best not to fall over at that.
なんで？
だってなんか人間じゃないみたい。
What are his only two settings like fucking creepy and idiot?
Yeah.
おお、ハルちゃんが僕より失礼だ。
すみません。こないだ見た SF 映画にハマったみたいで。一応人間です。
Is what an android would say.
どうも、牧島春です。
She wasn't as wary of me as last time, at least. I still had no idea how to approach her.
どっかで会いました？
Oh shit.
いえ、この辺りに来たの初めてですから。
ですよね。
Hmm.
Did she have memories of my seducing? No, of the previous loop?
なんだこれ。香織さん、ごめんなさい。ちょっと手拭いかなんかもらえます？
Something similar had happened last time, too.
ん？
It wasn't impossible that someone else had memories of the previous times. Particularly this girl, considering her mind held traces of madness. I don't think that's madness.
何？
Crap, I stared at her for too long. I had to talk it
い
off.
え、僕も何か引っかかるものが。関東に出たことは？
ないです。
そうか。じゃあきっと何か縁があったんでしょう。
Oh, why would you say
No.
it that way?
No, why would you say
真っ
that?
赤だよ。
いや、そんなことないよ。ほー。
Huh? Was she easier than I expected? No.
What the fuck?
Maybe android-like coolness was the way to go with her, whatever that was.
織部さん、こちら補修が完了した食器類、いかがいたしましょうか。
Cool manner of speech, robotic movements, playing with people's impressions was a bad habit I had.
じゃあこっちへ。さっきそんな喋り方だったかしら。
了承、実行。どうもありがとう、メッサーシュミット。
What the fuck is happening?
暗い必殺人間バナナ。
What?
Are you serious? Mochi closed in on me, shouted some weird skill name, instantly undid my belt, and brought my pants down.
Oh my god, those are Haruaki's legs. Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
I'm glad Yasu's just puking.
すっげえパンツだ。
こら、近持くん。
I think he just
や
fucking
やりたい
did.
ことと悪いこと
Yeah,
が
I
あ
think he
るでしょ
can do that.
いや、今を除いて仕掛けるときはなかったよ。
Yeah, see? Well, if you looked at this as a joke, this was definitely well timed. My android-like coolness, whatever that was, instantly became a gag. This skill left me so dumbfounded that I just froze in place with my pants down, effectively giving a treat for the ladies and waiting for a response. It is not a treat.
This is not a treat for the ladies.
How did the girl see this pantsless android-like cool guy before her? And again, what was android-like coolness anyway? I mean, yeah. Okay, we get it. Not a positive reaction, of course not. Please stop screaming, god damn it. Mochi's prank effectively gave her the worst possible impression of me. It was Mochi's fault, to be fair.
But he did stand there for a prolonged period of time,
Yeah.
just frozen.
Haru-chan had kicked my exposed ass over and over. The two boys stopped her, and then she, breathing heavily, fled to the dining hall. The guys followed soon after, leaving just me and
僕
Kaori-san.
は悪いでしょうか。
後で全員叱っておくわね。
She was all red ever since then. It was awkward as hell. I distracted myself by getting back to fixing plates. Eventually, we were joined by the old wolf guy, Mako and Rikako-san. I wasn't quite done with my job yet, but just like last time, I was given a break, so I went outside. The donut baloney.
夫妻子さん、お疲れ様です。
Getting close to Rikako-san was important for both survival and finding out the truth. Ugh. I still had some affection for her, as well as memories of our time together. However, it's a new loop, so I don't care. Last time, when I'd felt a similar way about Chiemi, I was hit with a big surprise. A gun! It wasn't just Chiemi, though. The Feast of the Oni Purge seemed to bring about a total change in the nature of people. If Rikako-san became a wolf this time, I wasn't sure if she would instantly kill herself like she claimed she would. In fact, as a wolf, she would know Mako's guardians or lack thereof, leaving the humans at a huge disadvantage. And most of all, if I got too close to her, it would make parting with her a whole lot harder. Even if I lost some of them, I had memories of the previous loops, so this was actually a big deal for me. The emotional strain would gradually pile up, and eventually even a guy as warped as me would snap. Thus, I would only get close to people as friends. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the solution. Stop thinking with your dick, grow as a person, and decide, you know, I'm going to work on myself. You don't always have to have a girlfriend, Haruaki.
That's what we've been saying.
That was probably the best way to go about this. I had no idea who'd even be alive once all of this was over. It was even possible that there'd be no one left.
我らを生かすこの山。信内山の騎士。
Okay, yes, we know.
信内山。
She's got a nice singing voice.
She does.
But she was teaching me the song. I actually knew it by heart at this point, and the memories it was tied to made it hard to listen to, but I acted like it was nothing. It took an uneasy tone. I looked away and saw Chiemi snickering as she waited for the right time to pop out, covered in blood. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because she was dismembering a kill.
Yep.
切り立った。
あ、お疲れ様です。
あれ？
Heh, she knew exactly what she was doing with the sudden appearance. How
狩りでも
mischievous.
してきたんですか？
ああ、惜しい。肝臓じいちゃんの獲物の解体の手伝いをちょっとですね。
なるほど。似合ってますね。
You lunatic.
何ですかそれ？なんか傷つく。
Crap. I accidentally remembered what she was like back then and gave a sarcastic comment. If she'd been telling the truth back then, she'd wanted to kill me ever since we first met. That meant that even now she was... Hold on. Did that mean that all that stuff I jokingly said about her being a murderer was on the mark? After all, the 2 shotguns were hidden in the room even then. Hold on. The first time we met, our very first encounter was among the rocks near Sadanaga. I picked up her flashlight. Then she called out to me. What was she even doing there? It was late at night, yet she'd taken a flashlight and gone down a dangerous cliff to reach a locally taboo area, Sadanaga. She'd also said this.
ちえみさんはね、ただ単に最初から殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくてたまんなかっただけ。そう、言ったら里帰りしたのだって、殺しがしたくて戻ってきたようなもんだったしさ。
Did she want to kill God?
Probably.
That's awesome! Those might have been nothing but words to make herself seem like the big bad wolf she was. However, it wasn't unlikely that she'd come down to Sadanaga because she was doing something worrying. She'd probably been there on this timeline too, we just hadn't met there. Maybe this time she'd actually finished whatever she was doing there. Well, no one had gone missing or anything, so it probably wasn't murder at least. It still made me curious. I was definitely attracted to her cheer, tact, and mystery. God! What did you just say, Haruaki? What did you just get done saying? I'm just gonna be friends with everyone this time. Yup. But this time, I would focus on exposing the secrets of Yasumizu itself.
Now that I've exposed myself.
Yeah, he who hunts two hares catches neither. I would only consider her to be a potential hazard.
Yeah, good fucking luck.
いやい
Good
や
fucking luck.
ワイルドさが
Good
ハ
fucking
ンティ
luck.
ングなイメージに合ってるってことですよ。ちへみちゃんは猫科の猛獣って感じ。
お、いいですね、ちえみちゃん呼び。ついでに肉食獣に味見されてみます？私もリカ子とお呼びください。なんだそれ。
僕も下の名前でどうぞ。
What a mess of an exchange. Though it still served to decide what we'd call each other, so that was fine by
何イ
me.
チャイチャしてんのよ、パンツマン。
Oh, now I'm Undie
Pantsu-Man.
Man. Pantsu-Man.
I mean, I feel like every loop he's sort of graduating.
Yeah.
First he was
w-
Toilet Man, then he was Piss Man, now he's Undies Man.
Suddenly we were joined by Haruchan holding a stick.
死んでー。
I was actually getting chased by a girl because of lewd stuff. What was this? A 20th century manga?
パンツマン？
パンツマン。
I was worried that nickname would spread, and I really hoped it didn't. Nope. Too late. You are
Pantsu-Man.
Pantsu-Man. I couldn't have predicted that I'd run out of time just calming Haruchan down and preventing the nickname from taking root in their minds.
夕霧が。
嘘。
いやー。霧は嫌。
Was she afraid of the mist because of whatever happened 8 years
は
ago?
るちゃん、落ち着いて。ちえみちゃん、彼女はどこに？
In the spur of the moment, I went and called her by first name, which I was pretty sure she didn't like, but no one could care right now.
私が寮に連れてく。春明さんはどこに？
ああ、そうだ。今日は僕は上のプレハブに泊まること。
どうしてあんな
She's
と
like,
ころ
I gave you that hut.
小屋。
僕は明日からずっと寝泊まりするから、お客さんにいい場所を譲るべきかなと。
春明様、素晴らしい。
何ごちゃごちゃやってるの？急いで。リカ子さんはメイコちゃんのこと頼みましたよ。
わかりました。メイコ、みそぎ、物意味、夢枕よ。
ねえ、わかった。
Bleh.
春明さん、抜け道教えるから上まで一緒に行こう。春ちゃん、歩ける？
霧。
Whoa, what? Breath's chasing sound of claws?
息が
The wolves are coming, you know.
息が追ってくるの。
I looked at Chiemi, she nodded, and I picked Haruchan up.
さん。いや、
Oh no. She was pale, her expression was empty, and her body was shaking, locked in a fetal position. Just what had she seen in the mist? What had she gone through? I hesitantly tightened my grip on her. She meekly grabbed onto my jacket. I had no idea if I could get along with her, but it wasn't impossible. While on the move, I noticed Hashimoto-san head to the hut I provided him, so all seemed good on that front. After leaving Haru-chan in her dorm room, I said goodbye to her, Jimmy and the two guys there, who were waiting for Haru-chan in worry, before making my way to the
寮
construction
の
site.
裏手の小道通ればすぐ行けるから。足は滑らさないよう気をつけてね。
She'd also told me how to prepare for the feast and was generally pretty nice about it too. It was pretty annoying that I couldn't just tell her that I knew it all. By the time I'd arrived at the prefab, the sun was down. I began by checking how I'd fare here. I'd take only the bare minimum of food and water I had here. I came prepared, but I didn't want to have to use the bathroom until morning. This was the shabbiest sleeping spot yet, but since I was still pretty awake, that allowed me to think a bit more. It was time to assess the situation. First of all, there were two things I had to keep in mind. How Yudai Hashimoto-san joining would affect the feast, and whether I could find out much about the feast in Fujiyoshi from Haru Makishima. The former would probably be made obvious by tomorrow. If he died despite all I'd done this time, I'd be all out of ways to help him survive. I'd have to start considering if there was something inhuman at work that was actively trying to prevent him from joining. If he did join the feast, though, the Guardian assignments would definitely change, just like they had when Mami-san and I joined. That would be neither good nor bad. However, the info I'd gained the first time when I couldn't participate at all, and the second time when I participated as a snake, were completely different. Naturally, there was a change in human relationships and who benefited from them. And now, with this change, I would get to know people I hadn't interacted much with yet, especially Haru-chan. I could only hope that being the Undie Man didn't result in her avoiding me. That reminded me, Mochi was the reason for my new title. Was he the biggest obstacle in my path toward the truth? Nope, Mochi's just being Mochi.
Yep.
Nah, he wouldn't admit it, but the guy liked Haru-chan and was jealous that I was getting between them. Oh, so he was the one who killed Haru-chan last time. Was the sad face I saw him the day after just an act? I had no idea, but I could totally imagine him killing her, only to regret it right after. Oh yeah, Yasunaga had also revealed his feelings for Chiemi right before she killed him, didn't he? She'd instantly shot him down, though. Literally.
Literally.
It seemed like she felt the same way the first loop, so that was probably true. Or maybe I just wanted to think that way. Then again, being liked by Chiemi meant that she wanted to kill you, so I wasn't sure if I was happy about that. That aside, as a wolf and as a human, he was a player skilled at debate and consideration. His words were really far from the mark, and he had influence over his mother's and friends' votes. He wasn't self-righteous or some kind of loner, and with a good backer spurring him on, he could be an excellent human player. If he was a wolf, though, I'd instantly know it from his lack of enthusiasm toward the feast. Maybe that would be considered cheating, but whatever. Meanwhile, though Chiemi had some bold things during the last feast, she wasn't a very active participant in the meetings themselves. That was probably because, just like Mochi, she played cautiously as a wolf and avoided drawing attention to herself. Taking that into account, Chiemi's whole hang me act on the first day was pretty impressive. It was bold for a wolf to make such a self-sacrificing play at that stage, but it was at a point where people weren't yet ready to hang anyone, human or wolf. She managed to make herself look like a human without any real risk, and kept the act going until the end. I'd heard that Chiemi had a decently big impact on the feast I didn't participate in. If she became a human, she would surely be a valuable asset to the humans. Personally, I didn't want to be enemies with her again, but I had no idea what she thought of me right now, before the feast had even begun. She herself had told me that she'd always wanted to kill me, which meant that the kindness she'd displayed to me so far could have been an act. That wasn't a pleasant thought. Rikako-san, too, seemed to be pretty fond of me. That was probably because of her idea that I was a special person who could do something about the feast. I wanted to do something about it, but saw no possible way at this point. I couldn't help but worry that I'd disappoint her again. She was pretty passive in the feast, and her votes often prioritized the local folklore and fairness. She did some pretty dangerous things, though, like trusting me without any real reason to. However, as a descendant of the Uematsu family, she knew full well just how scary the feast was and how to deal with it. The fact that she knew Mako's position was pretty important, too, and would surely be important now. I wasn't sure about Mako herself, though. If she got a guardian and Rikako-san handled her well, it'd all be good. But if that wasn't the case, I couldn't expect much from her in the feast, and her votes were based on how she felt at the moment. She would be an uncertain factor and nothing more. Rikako-san let her vote as she pleased, probably to hide that they were communicating, which wasn't great. The old man who cried wolf was even worse, though. What the hell was that guy? A senile old man? It really didn't seem like it. Kanzo-san had said that he'd survived the previous feast. He'd never said anything important during the feast, but had a vote worth the same as everyone else's. He also pretended to be the spider last time. Though Rikako-san came out as the spider as Mako's representative, she was essentially the real thing. Claiming to be the spider despite that was only meaningful if you were the badger. After all, if the badger presented themselves to the wolves once enough humans were out of the game, they would have a latent ally, which would be pretty good for them. And if he was capable of thinking that much, it meant that he wasn't just senile, quite the opposite in fact. But the idea didn't click with the fact that he'd always ended up getting hanged. What was he even after? I had more than enough evidence to conclude he was insane, but that just made spending time thinking about him more of a pain. Now while Kanzo-san's actions and goals were obvious, he was hard to control. He'd been handling the feast based on experience from the other ones. It was a relatively logical approach, but he wasn't flexible at all. He was extremely overbearing when it came to the flow of the conversation and didn't mind making unnecessary sacrifices, which eventually led to a lack of stability. He also had a weak point in Haru-chan. When it concerned her, he could become dangerous and violent. The other elder, Tai Yamawaki-san, was simply a hyper-traditionalist who resented the younger folks. In certain situations, it was easy to get her to vote right, but in others, she was nothing but a hindrance. She was also Takuri-san's a key person's weak point, and handling that whole matter was difficult. Tai-san's opposite was Yoshitsugu Uribe. He didn't care about tradition and hated the elders, as well as the village heads. He was also the intense type and could easily mess up the feast. It was also possible for him to make peace with his mother and brother and enter the Yasunaga-kun faction. But if left to his own devices, he could break the rules and get eliminated from the game on the first night. Handling him was difficult. His mother, Kaori-san, was generally a passive player who followed Yasunaga-kun, but she had a tendency to do unexpected things. When Yoshitsugu-kun had died, she had tried to poison everyone's food, and she had also tried to bend the feast rules and leave a dying message. She was the sole source of decent food here, and honestly, I wanted her and her sons to survive until the end. Then there was the man who understood and loved her, Takuri-san. He was important as the facilitator and mediator, keeping Yasumizu unified despite the tribulations of the feast. He had a lot of weaknesses, though, such as his antagonism toward outsiders and the village heads, as well as his tendency to do unnecessary stuff on his own. However, all of it was outweighed by his popularity, charisma, and sheer strength, which were useful every now and then. Overall, he was someone I wanted to depend on. He really had to form a trusting relationship with his brain, though. Now, Kyonosuke no Satoshi was pretty hard to evaluate. He often said things that didn't have to be said, couldn't read the mood, and tended to create conflicts between himself and Yasumizu's people, but despite expectations, he ended up surviving. He actually wasn't wrong most of the time, but his presentation alone often ruined it completely. He was one of the few village heads in the group, so I could at least count on him to prevent any unfair votes toward Rikaku-san, but besides that, I just remembered that he was a doctor. Couldn't he examine the dead bodies? Why did I have to do it when we had him around? He hadn't insisted on examining a single corpse so far. Was it because he was afraid of dead bodies or something? What the hell? That kind of a joke wasn't funny in a situation like this. Besides them, there were the journos. Mamiya-san had been pretty much manipulated by Chiemi, so reading her was hard. If she could keep her cool, she could probably make some decent contributions to the feast. Also, I felt that her knowledge of folklore and occult stuff would be necessary for my current main goal, finding out the truth. As for Hashimoto-san, he hadn't survived this night even once thus far, so I couldn't say anything about him. However, though the first impressions had made him seem like nothing but some fat guy, he did show an impressive capacity for logic and reason. If both Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san survived, I imagine they would perform really well in the feast. Of course, it was hard for them to pass the barrier all outsiders faced here. Then there was myself. I was the most suspicious here, and the one most likely to get hanged. Last time I'd been able to survive because I was the snake, and leveraged my role well. It helped me get Takumi-san and Rikaku-san over to my side, as bad as that sounded. However, there was no guarantee that it would happen again. It was best to assume it wouldn't. In that situation, I'd have to focus on helping my side emerge victorious, with myself still alive, rather than just helping my side emerge victorious. Even if I could loop, there was no guarantee that I couldn't get into a situation where I would be hanged no matter what. That was a heavy thought to have, but I'd have to believe I could make it and keep pushing onwards. I had to keep going. Suddenly, I felt drowsiness come over me. Had I been so busy during the day that I ended up more tired than I thought? It was time to cleanse myself. I took off my clothes, wiped my body, switched into my spare underwear, and that was that. Then I locked the shabby-looking lock and returned to my bed, if you could call it that. What would I do if my door was suddenly knocked down and some scary werewolf monster came in? Shit yourself. I tried to keep myself on my toes, but my brain knew that wasn't how the feast worked. So it just relaxed and led me to sleep. I'd be safe today. I wouldn't die today. I think about what came next later. I felt a strange pain all over my body. Next, I felt that something was way too red. I could see the light of the outside through my eyes. I thought that meant it was dawn, but that wasn't the case. The morning sun had a bitter orange color, but this red right here was darker and colder. It also felt like my eyes weren't even closed. Why was I unconscious with my eyes open? Not only did my body hurt, but it was cold as well. Too cold. I was sleeping on the ground. My hair was on some gravel, while my hands felt grass and mist. It was cold. My senses awakened. No, it was more like something that had been cut off and had suddenly returned. It wasn't quite the same as a typical morning, and the bizarre sensation took me a moment to adjust to. I was outside. The moment I realized that, all blood left my face. I tried to jump up, but then I realized my body was sluggish, and that my body temperature was extremely low. Had I been out in the cold mist for that long? My mind was in better condition than my body, at least. Why was I outside, anyway? Had I broken some taboo I didn't know about? Did the prefab count as outside? Would I be taken outside and killed because of it? Maybe there wasn't even a need for a reason like that. It could have been that I just used as I'd just be used as an example. If Yudai Hashimoto-san did the feast prep this time, no one would die tonight, but perhaps that was a bad thing for Great Lord Shinai. The existence of the penalty, the corruption, was best made through example. A simple mess of a corpse was enough to prevent people from trying to escape or walking out at night. However, if no one broke that rule, no example could be made. But it was actually entirely possible to make an example without anyone breaking any laws. If there was a corpse tomorrow, everyone would just assume that the victim had broken a law. No one would question the Punisher's decision. Well, we hadn't had any unexplainable victims of the corruption thus far. That was my assumption anyway. Rikaku-san going nuts made absolutely no sense, but it wasn't even clear if that was the corruption, so I would just leave it at that. Besides that, all instances of the corruption so far seemed to have completely plausible causes behind them, so I'd assumed that the Punisher was fair. But could I trust their benevolence now in this situation? I was an outsider who was barely known here, and that kind of made me the best person to make an example out of. Had I been too optimistic to assume I wouldn't die today? My throat was dry, which made me feel even colder. My irritation and panic broke my tolerable limits, and I finally regained my senses and control over my body. There was red light all around me. Its source was distant, but it lit up the entire mist, giving it a bewitching, unsettling shine. It made me both uneasy and scared. It reminded me of the first mist I'd ever seen, even though it was late at night right now. However, unlike the first time, I didn't feel any beasts nearby. I strained my eyes to look into the mist, and realized that I had someone at my side. Or rather, I realized that there was a humanoid silhouette within the light. It was a girl. Haru Makishima. As I tried to stand up, I staggered pathetically and collapsed again. I could barely even speak. She noticed me, slowly turned her face toward me, and looked down at me with eyes showing no hint of emotion, thought, or life. She was even smiling a bit. I heard my name. It surprised me, but I somehow turned to the other side and saw Kaori Oribe-san. Her eyes and expression were almost exactly like Haru-chan's. Oh, did we piss off God?
No, I think we're a wolf.
Was I still half asleep? Was this some sort of dream? Why were they here anyway? But if I could actually see the God that Chiemi, Rikaku-san, and Haru-chan talked about, I would accept it in a heartbeat. I turned to the direction that those two were facing. In red, misty darkness, I saw the outline of a large tree. It was the hanging pine. That meant that this was the graveyard. And there were 3 lights, or rather, sets of them within the mist. It took me a moment, but I realized they were eyes. The vague silhouette seemed human, and yet not human at the same time. Was that God? Why had they appeared before us? Questions filled my head, my thoughts became dull, my sense of logic froze, and my vision contracted. Suddenly, God spoke. For I will tell ye the true legend. It was like a rumble, but it was definitely a voice. We will now tell you the true legend. I tried to follow what he said. The wolves were not fully dead. The wolves aren't dead yet. It's the humans that are dead. Humans, snake, monkeys, crow, spider. All of them have risen up from Yomi. The law of the mountain says all creation is to be killed, but they must all be killed. Oh, we're on Team Wolf!
I told you.
I know. I just like this.
Okay,
You
you're
were
excited. All right.
chosen to be the wolves.
読み人たやして参加を済ますべし
Destroy the Yomibito and purify the mountain and the river.
我ら老面を授くれば
A noble Yif?
Oh no!
Oh
Well,
no! Oh
our
no!
wolves.
A noble Yif! We will give something to
必
you.
ずこぶりてみそぐべし
You must wear it and cleanse
さらば
yourselves.
汚れの霧汝らが身を犯すことなし
Do that and the corrupt mist shall not harm
さ
you.
ても汚れの霧のこきこと
But
す
since
さ
the
ま
mist
じ
is
け
so
れば
dense,
我ら無地なを使わさん
we will also send you the badger.
明晩無地な読み人の一人にいい模様をして
Huh.
汝らに組みせさすべし
Tomorrow night we shall inspire one of the Yomibito to become your ally.
これすなわち無地なの加護なり汝らにあたう我らがことよせなり
This badger would be a guardian, and it is our help to you. Huh, so the wolves always got such a detailed explanation. They were low in number, humans received other guardians, they were under pressure to lie at all times, and were surely conflicted about many things. The wolves were actually at quite a disadvantage here. However, they had more information. They knew their allies and enemies, and about the existence of the traitor unknown to the humans.
さりければ人世に一人の血を流すべし
Anyway, draw the blood of one human at night. Anyway, seriously? Did he have any idea how hard that
さら
was?
ずはなきにせらるは汝らなり
Otherwise, you will be the ones to die. Threats too, huh?
夢夢疑うことなかれ
Do not doubt this.
夢夢疑うことなかれ
He just repeated it, for effect, surely. He really wanted us to believe him. So the three of us were wolves? I had no idea if that was true. Hell, I didn't even know if this was real or not. I really like this. I like being able, like, having this perspective, because now we're going to be able to tell if the people were, like, in their right minds or not.
Mm-hmm.
Then the red light became weaker, or my consciousness began to fade. I had no idea. And soon enough, it was all dark. Oh, shit. All right. I think this is where we should call it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, oh,
Just
damn.
about to get juicy.
Oh, my God. Juicy like the people steaks we're going to be murdering.
Oh my god, you sure said that.
I sure did.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
no, it's true. It's the best way to get the perspective without boring towny loop. And oh fuck me, this is awesome.
This
Damn,
is exciting.
I wonder who we're gonna fucking ice first.
I know, right? I wonder if we'll get a choice.
Oh, that would actually be really cool. Um, so Haru, Kaori, and Haruaki are the wolves.
Yeah.
We need to. Who do you think the badger's gonna be?
Oh my god. Probably the old man who cried wolf. I'm calling it now. It's gonna be him.
I feel like it almost has to be because we know so little about him. But
Hmm.
alternately, I could see Mochi being a fucking terrifying badger.
Mochi would be, yeah. I mean, he was a terrifying wolf, so yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. Oh man, there's a lot. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Oh, what if it is Granny Tai? That'd be great too. But she was
Oh,
a
yeah,
wolf
that would
already.
be. Yeah, she was a wolf,
I
and
think
she
think
died pretty early on, so we didn't get to see. Like, we still haven't seen a whole lot of her.
yeah. All I know is that I'm real interested to see where this goes. So
Yep.
we will be back on Monday night to go to Yif Town.
Yep. Oh, we're
Yep.
going to Gift Town with Kaori and Haru. I have.
Oh no. Okay, no, we're not going to Yif Town. I
No.
just nope. We're going to Wolf Town, regular straight
Yeah,
up Wolf Town.
no Gift Town with these ladies.
Nope. All right. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow our Twitter at Receivable, and don't forget to follow our YouTube for past playthroughs. We're on Last Days of Lazarus is what's playing now.
It just finished up.
Oh, it just finished up. So I think the next thing is when you and I played We Were Here, and then
Oh, yes! That was so
yeah,
fun.
and then we get into this one because yeah, this is a long ass game. It's pretty much going to be the entire month of June.
Yep.
But anyway, have a good night, everybody.
Good night.